cards moving around tells you nothing, right? You don't.
Yeah. All
Like
right.
at least like Hearthstone or something, you can see monsters hitting each other.
Yeah.
That's something.
All right. Welcome everyone to the finals of Season 3 of the Dominion League. Here are our two champion candidates, Yed and Steph, and with me is co-commentating Mick Seanock.
Hi, everybody.
The situation here in this match is that they will play 6 games, and at the end of it, if Steph has won 4 of them, he will be named the champion, and if Yed has won 2.5, at least, then he will win, and he will become the champion, since Yed did better in the regular season. So here's game 1, and this game was submitted by JW. All of these were randomly generated and played throughout the season. So this board in particular, I'll go ahead and talk about it a little bit and why I felt like it was interesting. There are no attacks on the board. The trashing is pretty weak. There's only Stonemason and a lot of the sources of draw, stables, and catacombs. Don't necessarily mind having lots of coppers in your deck, but all the components are here for a pretty big engine, and then there is Grave Robber to make the engine kind of interesting, as either a payload or helping you build. Oh, Steward's here. That's strong trashing. Sorry.
And the Grave Robber has an additional interaction with Catacombs. So Catacombs, you can make it a province and pick up one of the 4 pieces or a scheme or something. So I mean, you obviously need to get your drop, and I don't think they don't have shelters. So on the 5/2, it's a little harder.
Because you can't open Steward in good conscience, you mean?
Yeah, I mean, whether you just want to do like Stables Crossroads, I mean, you can, if you want to be a little risky, you can try and, I guess you could do your Stonemason for 2 Stewards and then get your Crossroads and be
That actually seems pretty
on
strong.
your way. So I wouldn't be surprised if he does that. The other option would be to take like a scheme with your Steward. You could do Stonemason, scheme, Steward, and then get a Crossroads on the 2.
Yeah. That way you're not putting 3 terminals in your deck on turn 1 of the game.
So those things sound okay to me. I
mean,
and it also puts in a bunch of actions that you can target with Grave Robber eventually.
That's true. I mean, on a board like this, where there is no lack of draw, but you do have Stables and Caravan as non-terminal draw, and then you've got Catacombs and Steward as terminal draw, with enough villages to go around. Are you more inclined to focus on non-terminal draw instead of the terminal draw?
Yeah.
I certainly, my instinct here is to race Stables and race Caravans.
I would emphasize the Stables. Not so much the Caravans, but I would be looking for getting a lot of Stables.
Okay, so Yed opens Caravan on 4. I imagine he'll be getting the Steward next.
Steward, yeah. Doesn't seem.
So this looks like
this is a bad draw for Steph here to get the Crossroads without any estates.
Given that he has a Stables coming up, he wants to buy something that'll definitely make the shuffle. Ooh, and this is not good.
Yeah, this is pretty bad. I think I would have actually taken the Stonemason, although I don't know that I would have seen it when I was playing.
Stonemason.
Not then, but on his opening instead of Stables.
Yed looks like he's had a pretty good second shuffle.
I don't know that you need a second Steward so much here. I might have taken a silver over that. The thinning is not as huge a deal. So I expect Steph to get a Caravan.
I mean,
maybe a
thinning
silver.
thinning is winning,
Yeah, right.
but at this point you do have to ask yourself what the payload of your deck is going to be, because that affects how much you want to trash your coppers, right?
Yeah.
I mean, if you want to go for Grave Robber as your payload, then you just want to get a ton of actions. But if you want to go for treasures as your payload, then do you want coppers, or do you just want to set up a couple of big treasure maps? What's stronger? I mean, all of those options seem pretty viable.
Yeah, um, one thing is the sooner you get the money in, I guess, instead of just doing thinning, you can you really want to hit some good overpays for 2 stables or stables grave robber, so that you can start taking advantage of the grave robber. So, um, there's a it's not obvious to me whether you can't get something out of adding in, say, a silver. But it's, again, if you get thin, then you kind of know what your deck is going to be able to do each turn. You can plan a little better. JSH is saying to use scheme, set up the treasure maps. JSH has already identified the key combo on the board.
It works so good.
Which is to
scheme treasure map. It's a
scheme
thing.
Treasure map.
So a lot of times, like, I mean, it seemed pretty unanimous among the chat and between the two of us. Like, in this situation in particular, like, you want to open with the Crossroads on the 5-2. But now that you have a Crossroads in your deck, how much consideration do you give to keeping your estates around versus just trashing them with the Steward right here?
Well, unless you're playing multiple Crossroads, there's no advantage to just trashing the estate, or to keeping the estates, because you can have them in your starting hand, which hurts you, obviously.
Right.
And if you do draw with the Crossroads, if you only play one Crossroads to draw with the estates, you're just drawing 2 cards that you would have drawn instead of the estates anyways.
The best case by keeping the estates in your deck matches what you're going to get anyway if you just trash the estates, right?
Right. Yeah, until you add multiple Crossroads, in which case you're getting repeated use out of the same estates. It's like cellaring without actually getting rid of something. But if you only do it once, it doesn't help you.
So what's Steph's economy like? It looks like he just has 6 coppers and a couple of stewards in his deck, yeah?
Yeah.
So do you go for a stables here? Do you stonemason into 2 4? He has $5, never mind.
Yeah.
Do you stonemason into 2 3s? I think that seems a little aggressive.
I think so.
So, I mean, Crossroads certainly does have its use as a as something that helps your deck stay viable as it greens, of course. But
and here it's just a really good village, actually. I mean, to get 2 extra actions out of it it's pretty nice.
So then do you prefer something like Catacombs at this point? I mean, this is probably what's going through Steph's minds, right? Catacombs versus Stables?
Yeah, he doesn't have a stonemason yet, which would be a good target to do a grave robber on. Yeah. I think he wants to get up to 7. Next turn would be the ideal thing.
Yeah, if he's going to hit 7, he has to play a steward for money.
Yeah. Because you can stonemason, I don't know, with what he has, the 1 workers village, so he has plenty of actions right now.
Okay, this could be it. I mean, that Crossroads is certainly coming in handy. He doesn't necessarily have to worry about adding too many terminals to his deck, assuming he draws his deck, and here he does hit that $7 price point.
I think he could have tossed the... Well, he's leaving estates on his deck, right?
I think he's trashed all of his estates. We can't see his draw pile.
Yeah, I can't see his draw pile.
I think he might have drawn his deck this turn.
Okay.
So at this point,
grave robber stables here.
Yeah, you want to get some draw, and you want to get something else to go with it. So why the grave robber here? What are you going to do with the grave robber right now?
You can hit stonemason with it.
So he doesn't
He
want to
can.
play his stonemason on his catacombs. He would rather grave rob the stonemason into something else.
Oh well, I'm not sure, but that's what you could do it one or two ways, right? You could trash the catacombs and get it back with your grave robber, or you could just gain a 5 getting rid of the stonemason.
Sure, that makes sense. So
So if you trash the catacombs, you can get a lot of 4s, and the 4s are pretty nice here. So maybe that's the better idea.
so when, if ever, do you decide to go for treasure maps and get gold into your deck?
Um, I'm not sure. It's not. I expect he'll probably keep building for a little bit. If you can kind of maneuver into a place where you can do the 3 pile. I mean, we got stonemason, so the 3 pile could be 4 turns from now or something. Um,
And you're already thinking 4 turns ahead. How do you best position yourself to make that 3 pile happen?
well, that would make you not want to go for treasure maps. It would make you want to have stonemasons and grave robbers to empty piles quickly.
Sure.
Um, but one thing is that I'm talking about the 3 piles already, but the there are a lot of good targets here, so the gaining is getting spread out a little bit. You know, there are multiple 5s and 4s, so none of the piles are like shooting down that low that quickly. So he did end up tossing this stonemason.
Okay. So it seems
I don't think he got the draw to be able to do the stonemason on the catacombs.
right. So it seems that the method of building in this case is focused around gaining cards and not necessarily building up economy so you can buy the cards.
That's what I would think would be worthwhile here, just because you can get with this. I mean, the way you're going to buy cards is through stonemason, which gets you a lot of value, and then you can chop the things you get off stonemason with the grave robber.
Okay. So
So it,
go ahead.
so it allows you to. I mean, what grave robber lets you do is improve your consistency while still increasing your potential to green, right? You can put engine pieces in your deck that allow you to be consistent, but they're convertible into green cards whenever that's necessary. Whereas a gold is not going to do your consistency and is not as easily converted into a green card. It takes a buy or whatever, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But
So
it's at some point, you know, somebody starts going for green. Depending on the deck states, they might be able to just kind of keep picking up provinces at a good rate, and if the piles aren't actually that low, then we might see the provinces run. But
you draw a hand of
who knows?
stables and 4 copper, and you just worry you're not going to draw 3 engine components like Steph just did.
Yeah.
So he picked up 2 villages off his last stonemason. There were some. I mean, it seems that the reason he would do that is because he wants to ditch the crossroads, grave rob the crossroads.
I think it's just because eventually he wants to play a lot of terminals, and he's not his. You could put caravans, right? That's the other option, but he's drawing his deck, isn't he? Pretty easily. I can't.
Seems that
I'm a
way.
little confused because we can't see the deck count.
Yeah, we'll try and get that fixed for next game for sure.
But I assume he's just getting his whole deck. We'll see if he maybe stonemasons the catacombs this time.
So sometimes when I'm playing decks with grave robber being a big part of the payload, a lot of times, you know, you're rewarded for vastly overdrawing your deck, where you can grave rob things and then gain them back and play them and do all sorts of shenanigans. Is that a possibility running through your mind at this point, how to best set your deck up for that? Or do you think other payloads could be better?
I mean, I expect Steph is thinking about those things. I have somewhat of a difficulty planning that ahead. I just kind of, if it occurs to me while I'm playing the turn, I will do it.
That's the best that I've ever managed to do while I'm playing a game, by the way.
I don't really, I don't think about it too much. Here it is going to be a factor because he can do that pretty easily.
Yeah.
Draw and gain and draw and play. So.
Yeah, and on that note, like, do you think he's considering Stonemason and Catacombs, gain 3/4s, or something along those lines?
Get the Catacombs back.
He could potentially collide treasure maps this turn if he wanted to, right? Stonemason, Catacombs into 2 T maps, or
right,
and then draw them with Steward.
And then the other thing, I mean, I kind of knocked the golds, but the golds are excellent Stonemason targets.
I've noticed synergy between gold gainers and Stonemason, particularly on engine boards. Like Stonemason Market Square, there's great synergy there. Even Soothsayer. But a lot of times, by the time you're able to do stuff like that, you know, you're either mad scrambling for green or you've already won the game anyway.
Yeah. This is going to sound stupid, but the real issue here is that if you play the treasure maps, you need to have a way to draw through those golds that turn. You don't want your next turn to be 4 golds on top of your deck.
Yeah.
Because then you don't get to do all your action stuff, possibly.
Yeah, you're sacrificing a turn just to buy 1 province, which in this game is pretty lame turn.
So you'll be able to scheme like A stables. So you'll draw some, but you might not get your turn going.
Okay, so he takes a Steward there over potentially a Catacombs. He's probably trashed down as much as he wants, so he wants the Terminal Silver.
I'm not sure that Steph's play here is as strong as it could be, actually.
It seems a little strange. I would almost always prefer Catacombs over Steward.
His deck is going to be pretty thin here. He can't even put his stables back now because there's a real risk of...
Yeah. He did decide to top deck that Workers' Village for sure.
Yeah.
Of course, he could be preparing, as some people in the chat are noticing, which I think they're being serious, right? JSH isn't one of the people saying it. But he could be preparing his deck for T-maps, right? Getting the coppers out, and I think you'd want to do that before going for T-maps.
And then, so with the Workers' Villages going down, we're getting a little closer to the 3 pile because, well, how much money does it take to empty the Stonemaces and Crossroads?
Or Stewards, even. I mean, if you're just looking for gains to end the game, those are it. So maybe it's too late for Treasure Map, yeah?
Well, you might throw it in just to get the cash to be able to buy those things.
JSH says, I was the one who suggested it, you ungrateful baboon. I was just kidding.
Yeah.
Love and kisses, JSH. Going for treasure maps there. I mean, it's a tough call, but you know, as Mixinac mentioned before, like, you kind of have to prepare for 4 golds on top of your deck, and not trivial.
Yeah, you need to. I think this turn he can do it, which is what the number you just said, but which is kind of why he trashed more, I think. So we'll see if he does the treasure maps now or what. But.
Right, it seems like a conservative play, right? Trash coppers before gaining golds just to prevent, you know, any turn where you couldn't possibly draw your deck.
What turn was it when I said 4 turns from now we might see a 3 pile? That's what I want to know. I want to see if I want
to say 8 or 9.
All right, so I've still got a little bit of
It's
wiggle room.
entirely possible. I mean, there are
Who
4
started? Steph.
stonemasons.
Steph started,
Steph was first player, yeah.
so we've got maybe one or two more turns for to be within range.
That's impressive. You were able to call it, 4 turns from now with all the piles. It's 7 or greater. That's
I mean,
ridiculous.
we'll see if it happens, but like here, if these go to workers' villages, I mean, how many buys is that to get the crossroads and the stone masons you need?
Steph has 1 stonemason in his deck, right? Because he trashed one last turn.
Yeah.
So that's 2 gains for that, and then Grave Robber for another gain. Potentially 3 if you're trashing catacombs. Because he only has 1 catacombs. But that has to be going through his head right now, yeah?
Oh yeah, he's thinking about that. He's been thinking about that for a long time, or at least in vague terms. Not no one like knows how they're gonna do it, but you you start worrying about being able to end it.
Another thing that I noticed, like, assuming Yed drew his deck last turn, which actually he didn't because he drew 1 card before shuffling. Assuming he came close to it, like, that's what his deck is capable of. He played a Steward for money and played 4 copper, and he has the same gainers that Steph does. Do you factor that in? Like, how low can you legitimately leave the piles and not get green this turn?
I mean, you can't take much of anything without getting some green. I think probably at this point. It's hard to keep track of it because I'm not playing the decks, so it's hard to hold in my head. But you have to. I mean, we're at the point where you have to be worried about that.
I think
even having the points.
I think if Steph doesn't get some points this turn, I mean, we're going to call that an aggressive play, pretty much no matter what, if he gives the turn over to Yed without any green in his deck.
I guess he could grave rob the catacombs now and get the province and the treasure. Well, no, I can't get
one
both.
Team map, yeah.
Yeah.
He could.
Maybe he does do the stonemason.
Stonemason catacombs, get 3/4s, play the other catacombs, draw it all, and then he's got draw left in scheme and steward. It's not unreasonable.
I guess you could stonemason for stewards. Stonemason the catacombs for like stewards and another stonemason, and then he only needs 8 point, right? If he can get the piles.
True.
So
it's 11 gains. 5 stonemasons, 5 stewards, 1 estate.
Yeah. So it doesn't. Again, I don't know how much of his deck he has in his hand. He's missing copper still.
I wouldn't. I mean, if I didn't have my entire deck in my hand, I don't think I would seriously consider getting treasure maps,
He can. There may be a way to end it on stonemasons and stewards. I guess that's the rest of his deck, maybe.
Yeah.
So I don't think he can end it.
It seems ambitious,
if that's the rest of his deck.
Yeah, I mean, how many stonemasons do you have to overpay for?
Because he can't draw. Yeah, and he doesn't have money, so.
I mean, if he's gaining treasure maps, that's not piles he's emptying. So now it's probably get points.
Yeah. I would think he needs something. I mean, you could build if you build. I guess if you add grave robbers and stables, it's not such a. You're not really rushing towards the piles that are going to empty.
I mean, I'm sure if he could, he would put 6 more stables into his deck, but then you're not getting 6 other cards that could be used to help you win the game immediately.
Yeah. Certainly
not easy choices to be made here. probably why this kingdom is interesting, yeah? Again, this kingdom was submitted by JW, so congratulations.
How many people are watching your stream? 20. All right.
Yeah, we've got 11 registered. 20 viewers. That's pretty good. Wonder how seriously a consideration
See, like
is.
You can't do the treasure maps at this point because
I was just about to ask.
they'll sit on top.
What about? I mean, Stonemason, Grave Robber, 2 treasure maps. Steward to draw them. Play the treasure maps. Play Catacombs. Draw some stuff.
I guess if you want to, if you stonemason the Grave Robber, you can get the treasure maps.
And then you could buy a province then. And now you've got 4 golds in your deck that aren't necessarily on top. So that potentially could give you lots of pile control, yeah? I mean, it seems like the limiting factor right now is just if he had 4 golds in his deck, he'd have lots of stonemason targets for gaining.
So Steph is saying in the chat that in the chat to Yed that he can end it, but not score.
Yeah, so then he loses on turns.
So I guess he's seen some way to get the piles.
All right, so he's going for the T-maps. That's what I just suggested. Yes! Yep. Something Adam I said wasn't totally off base!
I don't think you say too many things that are off base. He doesn't need to play that Crossroads, but he can, I guess, if he feels like it.
He's trying to intimidate his opponent. He's like, yeah, see this hand? See that? I can take you. And he has enough to double province. I think double province is probably excessive, but he could. Do you province and then you empty piles?
I don't know. You don't really want to push the piles, I don't think.
It's pretty aggressive for sure.
I mean, I can see Steph's deck turn after turn, but I do not know exactly what Yed has going on.
So it's a province and stonemason, which does empty piles, but yeah, the 2/5 cost seems like a much more conservative play. Does he get draw? Does he get that Grave Robber back that he trashed this turn?
I don't know. Doesn't look like it. He just wants to draw his deck again.
I mean, almost certainly whatever he gains this turn is not going to get played. I mean, it seems like he can already, or not going to get played. What am I saying? Well, the stables are going to get played. Then he can trash his Catacombs. Oh yeah, that's smart. He still has, what, 2 Catacombs in his deck? I don't think he trashed one that turn, yeah? So yeah, this is very dangerous for Yed, and Steph is really pressing his first player here, yeah?
Yeah, I mean, he's going to win it off the extra turn in the end.
But it seems that then Yed didn't ever find the time to pick up any Catacombs.
Yeah. Yed has much fewer options for emptying piles.
Well, especially because he's down in points.
Yeah, and he just doesn't have the... He's got... Well, maybe he has 2 Grave Robbers, I'm not sure. But... I'm glad the T-maps made an appearance.
Yeah, it looks like every card in the kingdom has been bought, which for a randomly generated board, you know, can be a rarity.
Mm-hmm. We need We need to know what JSH's gimmicks are going to be for the remaining segments of the card art list.
Can't you give us a sneak peek?
I suggested he request from the community to make MS Paint versions of one block of cards and have those in there.
He should do that for the bottom, like the very bottom of the list. Be like, best. Here, I can do better at MS Paint.
Do it for the best looking one. Just
here's the best one in MS Paint, and here's the worst one.
JSH couldn't do it, I guess, if I suggested it. Not everybody heard my suggestion. Just the inner circle. So just the people who actually read your card art thread.
Okay, it's a duchy from yet he couldn't or a province and a duchy. He gained a province and bought a duchy, so he did get some points. Now the pressure's on Steph. He does have more targets for Stonemason in his deck. And it does take looks like roughly the same number of gains to end the game. Although he does have the economy this time.
He has more Stonemasons too.
He has 2 in his deck at this point, I think.
Yeah. Stonemason 2 gold, just empty the duchies. That's not possible.
That's only the second pile. Ooh, there's that Crossroads. Hero Crossroads.
Now it's doing work. I don't see how he can't end it here by stonemasoning a gold for duchies for his points, and then...
Yeah, it seems like it should be possible. He's got all the necessary components in his deck, and the probability of a bad draw seems super low.
Stonemasoning a whatever a stables for more junk for stewards, and then he buys out stonemason stewards. That's gotta work. I'm not gonna count it up, but
looks like he's trying to calculate it right now, see if he has a force win without playing any more cards.
Stonemason on the gold has gotta work for the points, and then stonemason stables for the... I guess if you really want, you can... Well, you gotta leave enough stonemasons in the pile so that you can overpay them, but...
Is he thinking stonemason for 2 stewards twice? That costs you $10, which means you have to stonemason a stables and stonemason a gold. Is that enough gains to grab 2 duchies and the rest of the piles? It seems so, although he did stonemason us. Oh, he needs more stonemasons. And looks like he didn't draw any of them. He drew a bunch of copper.
I don't know that he needed to do that way. I was going to say stonemason the gold and stables, and then I don't...
Now he can leave $7 to stonemason overpay for 2 stewards. That's 1 stonemason in the pile, 3 stewards in the pile, and 3 duchies he can gain off of his trash. So he does have the force win here.
Okay. Seems like he would, when he took the this steward that he wants to... Well,
he's emptying stables. He must have a slightly different idea. Oh, he can overpay and get stables.
Stables is easier to empty than the stewards.
Oh, and then he's just gonna buy Duchy Estate with his $7.
He can just get the 2 duchies,
of course,
and buy the 2 stonemasons.
Yep, lots of different ways to do it at that point.
Yep. Okay. Well, I forgot about stables for some reason, but that works. I think there were probably a whole bunch of ways to end the game at that point. And the trick is finding one of them, so that's what he did.
Yep. He gets the job done.
Yep.
Alright, I'm going to send Steph the next kingdom, and in that PM I'm going to let him know that we can't see the left side of the screen, which will be very helpful. So I'm going to. I just did that, and the next kingdom. The next kingdom has actually been submitted by Silverspawn, who will be joining us to commentate. So Silverspawn, I believe you're still on the call.
Yeah, hey.
Hi. How are things?
Pretty good.
Awesome. And JSH says, whenever Silverspawn jumps in, we need to get him to talk about Harry Potter the whole time.
Why?
I have no idea. Which is your favorite Harry Potter book?
The last one. I think they were pretty much like everyone was better than the one before.
The last one, because now it's over and you don't have to read anymore?
No, I think the books are great. The last one, because I think it was the best one, pretty much. Like,
Can
if I
everybody
explain
hear
why, then that would
Silverspawn?
take a long time. That's not appropriate here.
Everyone should be able to hear Silverspawn.
Oh, I meant like he's a little soft in my speakers. I didn't mean is his audio going through, but rather
I'm too
whether.
quiet, you mean?
Yes, that is. I don't know.
Yeah,
I tried to make myself louder.
maybe moving closer to the microphone. I don't know of much that I can do about that, though.
Okay. All right, he's probably fine. JSS says he's good.
He says he likes book 5 the most. I don't know, book
No,
5? I
Oh,
mean,
yeah.
my favorite
of
part about book 5 was that Harry was introduced drooling against a window because he was asleep. That was pretty cool, but other than that, I found it frustrating to read, actually.
I don't
Well,
really
that was the point of
remember.
it. It was supposed to be frustrating.
I don't really remember anything that happened in those books.
It's been a long time since
They're
I've read
wizards. I think I didn't read them that long ago.
them. Ooh, it looks like we have... That's strange. It looks like the left side is... He's going to resize. Good call. Anyway, Silverspawn, since you submitted this kingdom, we're going to take a look at it. Maybe perhaps while Steph is resizing the window, you'd like to say a couple of words about what you found interesting about this board?
Yeah, I was trying to remember that because I submitted it like a month ago or something. And I just replayed it like while Steph was playing the first game, and I'm not sure if it's as interesting as I initially thought, because when I played it against Rabbit in a pro match. Then we did all sorts of things with Silk Road and Feodum, but I don't actually think that was good. I think like if you play it like optimally, then you probably do a simpler plan. Okay, you definitely want Wharf and Shantytowns, and you probably want to open Wishing Well and Remake, I think.
So, given that Soothsayer is a junking attack, I mean, there is strong enough trashing. Do you just ignore Soothsayer?
I think you ignore it. Like when I played the game initially, I bought one at some point, and Rabbit didn't buy any.
I mean, gold game.
I think you can afford to get one at some point, just for the gold.
Yeah, the curse doesn't really too much.
The curse is pretty meaningless. I mean, they might get stuck with like a point. So if it's a close game, it might matter if you end the game after giving them a curse. But
Yeah, if you don't have a gold in your deck, and then you don't have a Soothsayer, and you're looking for 2 more uniques for Fairgrounds, it could be a tactical play.
Yeah, maybe. So that's pretty good hand that Steph has now.
So,
yeah.
So how do you feel about going for a Fatum-based strategy? Remake Fatum into lots of 5s, lots of silvers?
Well, that's like what we did, but I actually don't think it's good. I think you want maybe some Fatum at some point just to get silvers, but I don't think you want to make it your like primary source of points.
Well, I've always said that if you're going for Fatum, you can't go for just Fatum. Usually Fatum decks have lots of silver so they can get provinces as well.
That's true, yeah. But I think you just want silvers here, but I'm not sure.
I see. So looks like both.
I mean, if you're already drawing your deck, and you have a chance to pick up a loose 4, maybe you take 1 to remake it immediately. But
Yes, exactly. And you can remake it into a 5, which is really good.
It seems that both Yed and Steph have trashed 2 estates with their remake on turn 3.
Yeah.
And so they have the same draw, but Yed chose to get Shantytown and Silver, and then buy Wishing Well, and Steph just wants 3 Wishing Wells, which, I mean, we expect this of Steph, right? I mean, check out his avatar.
Steph loves Wishing Well.
Yeah, I'm not sure if that's the right play actually to go all out in Wishing Wells.
Yeah, but if your name is Steph, though, and I believe this is written into the code at GoCo, if your username is Steph, Wishing Well just reads +1 action, +2 cards. There's no other text on the card. That's all you get, you know.
Then it's really good.
And that, for $3, that's OP, you know. It's a pretty good card.
It's that Steph magic. It's unfair. Of course, Steph has accused me of forcing my opponents to play big money against my engines or something. Like I hypnotize them.
He failed with Wishing Well.
He did.
He
Twice in a row.
He got all those Wishing Wells, and they.
Yeah, but he made the right choice every time. I think Copper was the most likely option.
Oh yeah, sure.
So he didn't do anything wrong. Yeah.
No, but it's funny.
Yeah, it's funny.
Assemble Me says, well, 3 of them. Yeah, puns straight from my heart. Well played, sir. Get it? Well played.
That's pretty bad, I think. Now, if he plays remake, then he can't buy a 5.
Maybe he's going for the Fatum, yeah? I mean,
right,
that's actually good here.
Yeah, I think that's the right choice because he can remake it into a 5 next turn.
JSH says he planned those misses, he's timing the reshuffle, and that's why he had this brilliant hand that he's got now, yeah?
Yeah, but honestly, I think he's actually behind at this point.
Yeah, that turn was pretty unlucky. He's probably back in pace about a turn. It could have been much better. And Yed's already got a Wharf, yeah?
Yeah, I actually think the focus should be more on Wharfs and Shantytowns because Wharf is just insanely overpowered and Wishing Well is not.
True. So Shantytown and Wharf. I mean, with Wharf, you really want a village so you can get as many in play as you can, right? Shantytown's the only village.
Yeah, it's a bad village, but Wharf is so strong that it's still really good.
Sure.
On
a Wharf board, you would buy $3 Necropolises for sure.
I mean, here's the thing though. You're gonna get the Wharf of it. Steph's gonna have a Wharf in his deck. I guarantee it. All right, but you don't need to play a bunch of wars. You really just want to have a little bit of extra buy and the draw to kick off your next turn. So you don't have to have 6 Wharves in play.
So you would go for Stables instead of Wharf.
You can. Well, Steph already has 1,000 Wishing Wells, so it looks more like that. But you can do Stables some.
I mean,
Wishing Wells aren't very good. They're gonna get worse.
Yeah, I was just about to say, Wishing Well and Fairgrounds, there's anti-synergy there.
Yeah.
And you have to draw your cards. I mean, a deck that draws a lot of cards has to be better than a deck that doesn't, even on this board.
Yeah,
when you're tempted to play a slog.
You will get Stables. So yes, to answer that question, I think Stables can work.
It's better than Wharf? I'm not sure.
Well, Wharf isn't drawing as much if you're having to play Shantytowns to activate them.
Okay, so here's a question, and I don't know the answer to this question, that's why I'm asking it. But, I mean, is there any way that you can try and create your deck so that you can actually get some draw out of your Shantytowns? Or do you think that's just not going to work?
Not with the remakes in there. You can't...
Yeah. You will get it sometimes, but not.
Yeah, you can't have terminal free hands very often.
I mean, theoretically, you could try to trigger it with Embassy, but that's not gonna work.
Yeah, theoretically,
it doesn't help you at all to do it.
True. So Steph's hovering his cursor over Wharf and Stables. He's probably thinking to himself, like, what do you do here? Like, when do you get Stables? When do you get Wharf? Which ones do you want?
I would say you definitely want at least 2 Wharves. You want to have a Wharf in play every turn.
I tend to agree.
Yeah, you definitely want at least 2. I think you want more, but maybe you want just 2 and then stables. But I just really don't like the focus on wishing wells. I don't know.
I agree with you. I would have taken more silvers, and probably shanty towns.
Yeah, at least one.
But he is getting lab effects out of them fairly often.
Yeah, maybe like every second one. But they're gonna get worse, not better as they can progress.
This is true.
JSH says he's probably thinking, I wonder what ice cream I'm gonna eat later on. A lot of times when I'm playing Dominion, I legitimately do think about this, and I'm not just making that up. So Steph has three terminals in his deck. 2 Warbs, 1 Remake. And he does have a single Shantytown, it looks like.
Yes.
Single Shantytown, okay.
But
2 Warbs is 1 terminal, of course.
Yes, exactly. That's what I wanted to say. You have to treat it as 1 terminal.
Yeah. But at this point, like, getting any cards off of playing Shantytown just seems like it would only happen because you were very lucky, yeah?
Yeah.
Of course, you can make wishes for your wishing well. Like, let's say he's got 1 wishing well and a Shantytown in hand. You know, he could time his second wish so that he doesn't wish for an action card to enable his Shantytown draw. I mean, there are lots
but
of
only if he has 1 wishing well and a Shantytown in hand, which is probably not going to happen at all.
True. It's a thing that could come up.
Yeah, it could. It definitely could.
It might even come up this turn.
Yeah, that's why I mentioned it.
It might.
Except
I'm not sure what the 2 cards are that he's going to draw with the Dwarf.
Well, it's not. He had the remake in the last turn, right?
Yes, it's not a remake.
So it's not a terminal, but he is going to see at least 2 more cards in his reshuffle.
That's, yeah. He doesn't get a free wishing well.
Oh, he's got 2 Shantytowns.
Oh, yeah.
So there is a legitimate chance that you could draw off one of them.
Yeah. If...
And now those chances are over.
Oh, could still happen. Okay, now it can't. That's too bad.
Well, it looks like he'll draw his...
So I think there's at least 1 wishing well. Oh yeah, there it is. 1 more wishing well in the draw file.
There 1 more silver.
I think they have 5 wells each, correct? I think I saw Yed play 5 last turn.
Okay, then they have both 5.
JSH says, the way Adam reads the chat reminds me of how they read tweets on the news now. Like, and now it's time for our Twitter report. Hashtag Aunt Jemima is trending. Mother Teresa 420, 420 really? Check out my syrupy hashtag Aunt Jemima fanfic. Would you believe I haven't watched the news in like several years?
Who watches the news?
Apparently JSH does. Hashtag Adam reads chat. That's why they pay me the big bucks.
So what do you remake here?
Just get more Fiat. No, I don't know.
I think you just get rid of 2 Cobras, but I'm not sure. Depends on what he's going to buy.
Does he want to use stables as a main source of draw?
How much money is he going to have here? 10? Yeah.
So but right now he's using Wishing Well as the main source of draw.
Yeah, you know, drawing cards is pretty good.
Yeah, but the Wishing Wells don't draw that many cards. I think he has like less than 50% like success with Wishing Well so far.
And then, I mean, what are you going to remake, and also, what are you going to buy? There's some talk in the chat about buying 2 Wharves, which, you know, you can't do with remaking Copper.
So Steph's going for the heavier Wharf thing.
Yeah, I think it's the right choice. Otherwise, it's what I would have done.
So even if you're going for a deck that uses Wharf as its primary source of draw, there's something inside of me that says maybe you want to pick up Stables earlier. Or when is Stables ever going to be good in that kind of a deck?
It's not. You want Embassy at some point, I think, one.
As
But I
another
don't think
unique
that's
for your
it.
fairgrounds, and that's it.
I don't think you want an embassy here. I don't think it does much of anything for you.
I think maybe like if it turns into a slog with fairgrounds, I mean, it could be good then, but that's going to be a long time from now.
I'm not even sure if you go Fairgrounds here.
You can empty the provinces here pretty easily.
Leopold
I think so
says.
too. I don't think Fairgrounds are the right thing here.
Leopold says stables are good when there are no more wharves.
I'm not so sure. The wharf draw is not as much when you have to use a necropolis to play them.
I mean,
Well, it's still nets.
It's net
It's
3.
still nets 3 cards, right? Yes. So it's
Yeah.
as good as the Smithy is if you use it with a River Village. It's still pretty good.
Well, it's a net 3 every other turn. It's not.
Yeah, that's true. You need twice
It's
as
not
many.
the same. It's net 3 over 2 turns.
I'd be.
Which
But yet just drew with the Shantytown 2 cards in this turn.
There you go. Yeah.
That's-
I mean, I'd be very tempted to build a deck here that only has a couple wharfs and relies on stables and then play a slog, and of course I'd probably lose.
Well, maybe I'm biased because I'm really bad with Stavas. So that might just be the reason.
His wishing wells are becoming sadder now.
Yeah.
Well, he should be able to draw his deck this turn.
Yeah, definitely.
I mean, I guess he could draw a remake and not. He can still draw his deck this turn. Yeah.
It's not guaranteed though. I don't think. He's got a wharf and a remake and what left? A copper? Does he have a copper?
I don't think so.
Now it's guaranteed anyway.
Probably not.
So, do you legitimately start to worry about
He
piles
does
at this
have
point?
1 copper.
5 wards,
No, not yet.
4 shantytowns left. I don't see any remake shenanigans that can be used to empty piles without good economy.
No.
There was a copper people. The people in the chat are saying
Oh, yeah.
there's copper.
There was a cover. Right, he had 2 earlier. So I'm not sure if you get a if you get Soothsayer now, you might want to get it. But I mean, he's drawing his deck now, so if he buys more buffs, then that's inefficient.
He is doing the theater.
Yeah.
I actually do like Theoden play. I mean, it's a great way to get a lot of economy in your deck really fast. At this point,
Yeah, but
he could
don't
play.
want them for points. Just
Right.
kind of interesting.
But at this point, he could conceivably just start playing a slog.
Alright, there's a stables.
No, don't. Oh. I
It
was really
seems-
hoping he would not buy any stairs this game. No, sad.
And he remade a shantytown and rebought it instead
Yeah.
of doing that same thing to a silver, is what I'm saying. So he consciously lowered that pile, and he does have 1 Theoden in his deck. Granted, he's not going to empty piles this turn, but can we read anything into that as to his intentions?
I wasn't really
Get a
listening
fast
to what
few
you
pile? I
said.
don't know.
Nice.
You can, if you add another remake to your deck, you can empty the piles pretty quickly here.
Yeah, but if you add another remake to your deck, then your opponent knows that you're planning
Yeah,
to empty piles.
but it still gives you the flexibility.
Okay. But do you think it's worth it? I'm not
I
sure.
don't know. I'm not sure.
Hey, Yed is gonna draw with the second Shantytown again. It's the second time this game.
You make your own shuffle luck.
Yeah, Steph hasn't done it even once. Yed is so much better at this game.
Well, I mean, he's ahead in the rankings even after being down 1-0 in the match. Still ahead.
He's clearly playing much better.
Yeah.
Okay, what is he buying now?
Somebody in the chat said something about Silk Roads, which are worth 0 points for everybody. And will be worth no more than like 1 or 2 at best. Ever.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. We emptied Silk Roads and Feodoms, I think. When
Did
I
you?
initially played it. But I think it was really bad. So,
It's really easy to outscore that kind of thing because it doesn't. It's just like gaining very
I think
few points.
I was only going Silk Roads because he did it, and I know that I was ahead. So I thought if I do the exact same thing that he does, and I'm ahead, then I win for sure.
Yeah. Did you win?
Yes.
Oh, then that's all that matters.
Yeah. So like he can't just buy Wharfs and Stables now because he's already drawing his deck. So it's again not efficient. So he needs to buy something that's economy now. He could buy Soothsayer or Feodom.
I haven't actually checked. Are there Fairgrounds to 10 or not quite? Or yeah, Fairgrounds to 4 points. I mean,
2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. If Steph bought a Fairgrounds right now, he'd have 9 uniques, and that includes the Fatum, which he likely plans on trashing immediately.
Yeah. But he can, when he dresses Feodom, he can get a 5 that he doesn't have. Then he has 9 uniques again.
Right. He could pick up a Soothsayer.
And then
That's so good, yeah.
Or a Dachi.
Hey, that could be pretty good.
No, it would be pretty terrible.
If he's gonna end the game that turn, that's pretty good.
Yeah, it's a little bit too early for that.
Hey, getting 3 points out of a Duchy is better than powering up your 0 Fairgrounds by 2 points each.
Yeah,
See, look now, Silver Spawn. Don't you wish you had 2 remakes in your deck? And then,
Maybe.
boom. Then the game, you just end it.
He can remake
you
into
explain
more
what-
remakes.
Can you explain what Yet was just doing? It seems really
I have-
weird. He just
I have
bought
no
Shantytowns.
idea. I don't have a clue why you'd get that many shanty towns.
I mean, how many does
That's
Steph
probably
have
that-
right now?
How many Shantytowns?
Yeah.
You mean? I don't know. My guess is 4, but I didn't count. I'm
Maybe
pretty sure he
he's-
doesn't have 5.
He could be trying to deny the shanty towns.
All right, that's one Wishing Well
Nah.
lab.
You don't have to block pick Shantytowns.
Titan Drake is backing me up here in the chat. He says the more he thinks about the remake Fatum into Silk Road, the more he wants to see it played. Remake Fatum into Duchy gives you fuel. Maybe this remake Fatum, there's something to it.
You can't put all that green stuff in and draw your deck. It's not.
Right.
Yeah.
So he's saying don't try and draw your deck.
Yeah, you'll lose badly.
You mean even if you get to a point like this where you thin down, you start to draw, and then you use that as the payload? You
The
still
game
think
ends.
Yes.
Like the
Well,
game
it's not
ends
working.
before you can do that, and you can also outscore that by just getting provinces or fairgrounds
Yeah.
or whatever. Like that doesn't give you points very quickly, and it chokes. So I don't see it.
All right.
But anyways, I think Steph can probably end the game next turn if he.
He almost can end it this time, but not quite.
He
Could-
couldn't. He couldn't do it. He needed too
Yeah.
many. He didn't have enough $3 targets.
He could have remaked Shantytown and Wishing Well into a remake and a Feodom, and then remaked again Silvers, but it wouldn't have been quite enough.
Yeah.
But he can probably do it next
He
time.
would have had $8 that way.
Can he empty the wharves?
No.
He's got $6, $12, $14 in his deck.
I think he just buys a little bit of green now, and then ends next time. Oh, look how he discarded silver so that he has a free Wishing Well target now. That was really cute.
Ooh.
Of course, it matters not at all, but
Yeah, in this case it didn't matter, but silver was cute.
He's showing off.
Now the hardest decision is if you place the Shantytown. He didn't play it.
yeah, I'm not really following the Shantytown rush by yet, but
So how many shanty towns does he have? He has only 3. So Yet has 7 for some reason.
Well, at least one got remade.
Oh yeah, there's one in the trash.
Oh yeah, okay. Then he has 6. If one got remade or 5. Oh, I really hope he doesn't buy gold. I think buying gold would be really bad here.
I think you could take Province Stables would be just fine.
Yeah.
and
Province
should be
Stables
able to
sounds right.
should be able to end it the next game, next turn. I
He
think.
definitely shouldn't buy any more wars now, because then he's
If you buy Province Stables this turn, how do you end the game next turn?
On Fiat.
probably yes.
Remake 2 silvers into Fiat.
Or even 2
You
silvers
have-
into 1
have
field
shanty
and another
town.
remake, and then
Yeah.
you can.
Yeah, you'd have to
Remake.
remake other things, not your
You don't
silvers.
have to remake silver, but you can remake Shanty Towns or Wishing Wells.
Yeah, you need to make sure you have $12 in your deck to buy the last
No, you
3
can-
Fiat.
You can remake 2 trees into Fiatum remake, and then remake another 2 trees into 2 Fiatums, and then you just have to have 8 coins.
Yeah, infinite combo, as long as you can draw and have
As long as
the
you can draw,
silvers.
so
Yeah.
probably not more than once.
There are again various ways to empty the piles.
Yeah, but he's really far ahead now.
Yed doesn't really have money, does he? I guess
Yeah.
a little bit.
He has shanty towns. Maybe he knows something that we don't, but I doubt it.
He has $10 and Shanty Towns.
Lots of shanty towns. But he has only 1 remake, so what's he really gonna do with that?
Nothing. That's
Yes.
the answer.
Markov Keta is saying a way you could play this board: remake a Fatum and Silver into Fatum and Stables each turn, and then buy a Stables and something every round.
Yeah, you can do something like that. That's basically what Steph has done.
Yes,
But it's not what they're thinking, where you beef up Fiatoms. The game ends, before you get anywhere. I guess. I would have taken
I think
the
he
province.
was doing mass and was trying to figure out if Yet can win endgame. And then
Yeah, right. I guess he just isn't worried at all about the.
yeah, if he's certain that he can't end the game, then it's okay what he's doing. Like now, because there's so many shanty towns, they aren't doing anything. 2 of those shanty towns didn't draw.
He's gonna sneak a diadem into his deck.
Sneak what into his deck?
A diadem.
Yeah, pull that out of the black market.
Yeah. First you need to get the black market into the kingdom, and then he has to remodel a province and then play a tournament in the same turn, and then get the diamond.
It's no problem.
So he's already played a remake, and he didn't get a second remake, so there's no way he can end now.
Well, he
So to answer Leopold's question, Silverspawn actually already answered this, but it was just because Yed didn't pose any threat to end the game, so he can just build consistency to guarantee his next turn is not dead.
Yeah.
he could be
No,
thinking about doing that remake into remake and Fatum.
He's
overdraw
just gonna
combo.
end the game now. That's
Yeah.
really
getting,
easy.
getting a province does nothing for him, basically.
Yeah,
That's the
he
point.
doesn't have to. And Yet even bought a Faerdom, so now it's really, really easy. You just
Yeah.
remake 2 silvers or the 2 wishing wells or whatever, and buy the other 2, and he wins. Because Yet has only 1 point. Yeah.
I guess that Markov.
He doesn't need to
saying
do
something.
anything else. He has enough money in his hand.
Yeah. I don't know what Markov is saying in the chat, but well, you'd rather have the stables because his deck was already to Leopold. You'd rather have the stables because his deck already had the economy to end it. He didn't need to add remakes necessarily.
So it looks like he might be trying to do that combo: play Shantytown, play remake. Of course, he's not going to have actions for it, so he's just cashing it now.
He's just gonna buy him out because he
Yes.
has the money. It doesn't. He's
Now
got
I
a-
would buy 3 curses if I was Steph, but no, that's so uncool.
it. I'm not sure exactly what Markov was suggesting in the chat, but it's one thing to sort of imagine playing a stables and remaking stuff, and it's another thing to build the deck. I think Steph played it really well.
So Yet is saying that you shouldn't have bought the last Theodon because it made it easier for Steph to repile, and Steph is saying that he could have done it anyway. Which
Right.
is true.
You shouldn't have done is buy the last 3 shanty towns.
Yes.
Seems about right.
Yes, I get that, Markov, and I'm saying that when you talk about playing a game generally, it does not mean very much because the shuffles determine how you actually can do things. And
Yeah, that's true.
describing an ideal deck does not it's not strategically viable. It just doesn't matter.
So this board is really, really cool because it has Menagerie in it. One of the best cards.
This one was also submitted by this has
By me.
shelters. I don't think it's supposed to, yeah.
I'm not sure, but it's cool because
The-
then Menagerie gets even better.
The log you sent me doesn't have it.
I don't remember,
Well,
but
computer
you can get
remembers.
Menagerie to work either way, so it's not that big of a deal.
Mm.
So the cool thing about this board is that you obviously build the engine where you draw a lot with Menageries, but the only way to make, or the best way to make like money along the way was with Baron. That was, I thought, really neat.
Baron with shelters as a payload could also be affected by this. I'm gonna double check.
Yeah, but you get it really late. I think it still works actually.
You can get a cash.
And
Trade route
also-
seal.
So the trash is really, really weak here, but you like the engine is good enough that you have to buy it anyway. Like,
Yeah,
trade route is pretty
this
awful,
game should
but
be
in this
played with
case,
the states.
it's good enough. Can you check if the board I sent you had shelters? Because maybe it had. I'm not sure.
It had estates. I'm sending a message right now.
Okay.
They can play this though, right? It's not a big deal.
Yeah, and it would be even cooler if you use Baron on a shelter board, which I think you still do. But of
JSH
course
says,
you can't open Baron here. That would be terrible.
yeah, JSH says you can to look out for Trade Route, the most underrated weak card. Just look out for my Trade Route article appearing in the future.
But Trade Route is underrated. No, Trade Route is just bad. It's awful.
I'm not gonna say that it's not bad, but I think it's also underrated.
Yeah, that's possible.
Guys, listen. Let me tell you about Trade Route.
Okay.
It trashes. It produces money, and it gives you plus buy. What part of that doesn't sound fantastic?
Well, the fact that it doesn't produce money if you buy it early.
No.
It's
Listen, you just open a state Trade Route.
Ooh, yeah, there you go. Problem
already-
Yeah, and then
solved.
you also have solved the
Look-
Baron problem along the way.
Look here. You
Wasn't
can
that-
open.
The trade route can trash that estate you
Look,
bought. It's
here you can open-
self-synergy.
You can open estate on your hovel turn, trash a hovel, and then open Trade Route.
Yeah, I didn't think of that, did you, Silver Spawn?
No, I didn't. But it's genius.
It's so
It's all a
good.
combo. You buy one card, and then you buy another card, and then you trash one card with the other one.
It's so
Exactly.
good, man.
It's perfect.
Look at all that synergy.
Okay, 5-2 I think is pretty bad. Yeah, by the way.
Yeah, and there's the crossroads, so you can get those green cards, and then no problem.
Yeah, so you open Crossroads and Estate, so that your Crossroads draws a lot. No, I think he wants to get Bandit Camp probably. Either that or Mystic. But it's really bad compared to 3-4.
So DG and Silver Spawn are the guys joining the A division, right? DG's in the chat. There need
I
to
don't
be
know who
more.
the other one is, but yeah.
It's DG, but there need to be more Americans in the A League, so I don't have to play all my matches at 2 in the afternoon.
I'm working on it, man. Just give me some time. I'll get my way up there.
Adam, have you promoted yet? Or are you
No,
just...
no, I have not. Thank you for asking. In case you were
You're in the C,
concerned
right?
about my performance in the league, I did start in the C division. In the first season, I was doing great, man, and then I just decided to stop playing well. So then I learned, okay, just don't do that. But the second season, I was playing well. I was playing poorly from the start, so I couldn't not decide to stop. See?
Right.
So then the third season, I'm like, okay, we got this. I'm gonna start playing well, and then I'm gonna not stop. But then I stopped anyway. This is hard, man.
Yeah.
Oh, just to tell you guys what they're saying in the chat, because it is relevant to our discussions. So Yed said he wants a 3-4 start too, and Steph said, but cash costs $5. And Yed says, oh, I can buy that. Wink, smiley face, key card here. Probably that's a winky. I can't tell.
They're definitely winky faces. I can
and
confirm.
It's
And
winky.
then Steph says, can I suggest Duchy Estate? I plan on buying Trade Route. So there you go. Trade Route OP.
There you go.
No, that's the cool thing about this kingdom is that even though trade route is so incredibly awful, you still buy it. That's why it's special.
Dude Abides and I are the only Americans, and it's really not that bad. I have a pretty flexible schedule, so it's something to pretend to complain about.
That's actually, I mean, I know I got a lot of my subscribers by just whining a lot on my stream. And so it's likely that a lot of people that are here just to hear whining. So please keep going. I know they really appreciate it out there.
Well, make me to do that. I'm not good at whining. So Steph is suggesting that Yet buys Bishop here.
Duchy Estate here is like playing into Fool's Mate in chess.
Yeah, well, if he waits like 2 more minutes or something, then he should time out, I think.
Yeah, see, he had 5 coppers. He could have been playing them one at a time.
One at a time.
Yeah.
He's never gonna make it on the slow rollers blacklist with that kind of performance. I mean,
Yeah, it's really bad.
You
That's
gotta
like the biggest mistake.
you gotta
Interesting.
focus. You gotta have your timer out and get this thing down in the second.
Well,
Yeah, like
Mine.
when I tried to slow play someone because he was slow playing me, and I tried to slow play him back, then I messed up and waited too long. Then he just won.
You're just not a professional.
it's a different skill
Yeah.
set, man.
We should make a slow play leaderboard.
Oh, he got trade route with 5. Oh my god, that's so sad.
He did it.
Oh,
Because he
God.
knows.
The trade route is. Oh. He now bought like a card with 5 that doesn't produce
Steph.
any resources.
Steph should have
Really
opened Menagerie. I mean, look at this hand.
Yeah.
Man, I don't blacklist anybody because I love ornery people. The slow playing is annoying, but people who cuss and complain in the chat are my favorite people to play. They're hilarious.
Next time we play, I'll make sure.
Please do.
Come on, they're like really frustrated. You shouldn't make fun of that.
It's funny because it's like I get to feel good if I lose because I'm like, oh, that guy was a jerk. And if I win, I get to feel like, haha, I beat that jerk. So,
Why do you feel good if you lose against a jerk?
but the
You have to
it's
explain
like
it.
it's
because
like
I feel
it's
bad
like
if I lose against.
it's
a
like
jerk.
consolation. Like, oh, at least I'm not a jerk.
I get it. That's a
I
good way
lost-
to look at it.
I lost a Dominion, but I didn't resort to cussing someone out just because I lost.
Mick Seanock, forever the optimist.
Oh gosh, Yed bought an estate too.
Yeah, but with 2 coins, so he tries to solve.
Yeah,
That's okay, I think.
but Steph had a trader too. It's not. I'm not sure.
So
I guess it's at that point it's symmetric, but still.
so it seems. I mean, there are two villages on the board. There's Bandicamp and there's Fishing Village. Do you
And that's
prefer?
crossroads.
Do you prefer one vastly over the other, though?
Yes, Fishing Village is way better.
Right, and this is because of the synergy with Menagerie. Even though Bandicamp
Yes,
draws
and
a card.
because it's just a ridiculously overpowered card. Fishing Village is so extremely good.
Well, I mean, it's very good because it gives you lots of extra actions per time you play the card. But
But
that
you don't need that many actions.
on this particular board, I mean that one thing isn't so good. But even then, the synergy with Menagerie is still nice.
Yeah.
Ooh,
So
nice draw.
So
here.
the
and the
chat is
money.
discussing that at one point Steph trashed the Overgrown Estate or a hovel instead of the
Yeah,
Overgrown
Holland
Estate.
instead of just said, yeah, that's because he only
He
wanted
didn't
3
need the
coins.
card. Right. He didn't
Yes,
need the
exactly.
card so he can save it for later when he gets more use out of it. Which is something he actually does somewhat often. Which is a good play, but it's also pretty marginal.
Is he gonna go for 3 Menageries here?
It's not the worst thing.
I mean,
No.
I think 2 Menageries is pretty good.
No, I think. Yeah, okay. I think I'll go too.
Pretty soon here you can put in the bishop and it's not going to help your opponent that much.
True.
Yeah, but do you need Bishop?
Well, the points are okay.
Yeah, but I think the engine is like really good if you go with Baron and discard estates. It's
I
a legit
think-
thing.
I mean, Bishop and Baron, they can live together. They're okay with
Why?
each other. You
What do you
want
want to do with that?
you want points and you want money. I mean, why do you
Yep.
need to choose?
Yeah, but what's this Bishop gonna trash? Like you already trash a lot with two trade rules. You don't have chunk cards left.
Okay, so this actually dovetails into a question from the chat. Markov Ketta asks, does Bishop have any viability here apart from maybe a pseudo golden deck with Menagerie? I mean, what about that? Do you think that you can make a golden deck variant here?
I was thinking about it when I first saw the board, and I'm
No.
not sure.
I don't think that's a good idea.
I mean, how much money can you generate per turn? You can quite a lot with Mystics and Barons, I guess.
So are you
Yeah.
trashing every turn? What, Province and gold, Bank and gold?
Well, Bank's not different from Gold.
They're
Yeah.
differently named, is why I said it.
Right. I'm saying you could put a bank in your deck, but you wouldn't rebuy banks to trash them necessarily over Gold.
No, no way. So I really think he wants Barons here, not Mystics, but maybe Steph thinks otherwise. Also, Barons give a buy, which is not bad here.
It is Trade Route and Baron is the only plus buy. I see. Yeah,
So
eventually
the
you
thing
want
the reason Bank's a little better here is you can put in a cash too, so you can have cash, gold, bank, silver, copper, whatever, and your bank
But
can be
Bank
worth.
also anti-synergizes with Bandit Camp because you never have spoils in play.
Hmm.
So
It does.
I don't think
It doesn't work with that, but it can produce $5 still, or $6. What would it be? $5.
if you buy, yeah, but the golden deck just isn't good enough. Not as good as the engine. I'm pretty sure it's not a thing here.
You don't
Wait.
have to do golden, but I'm saying you could still add a bank, and it would be.
Okay, maybe you can.
Well, you can still have like multiple golds in a golden deck variant because I mean, with enough actions, you have fishing villages and
No,
things.
you can't have more than one gold because then you block your menageries.
But I'm saying if you're going to trash them to your bishop, if you're going to try and get multiple bishop plays per turn, you can bishop trash
yes,
gold. Yeah.
but that would be the wrong strategy.
Yeah.
Because you want Baron here. I think you want Baron.
I don't really think Baron's that good here.
I
You
mean,
know what Baron is? It's 2 cards. That is $2 each. It's. I mean, you can redraw the
No,
estate.
but you can redraw the estate
Yes.
and then play it
Yes,
with
but
other
you're
pawns.
not getting that much money out of it.
No, you're getting a lot of money out of it.
Then it's if you play it twice, then it's as good as Gold's, right?
Yeah,
Or
but
not even as good as Gold's.
so Steph is buying 3 menageries here, and well, possibly buying 3 Menageries here, which I think, I mean, all this stuff we're talking about really wants to draw cards, and with Menagerie being the only source of draw, I think triple Menagerie here could be pretty good.
Yeah, it's good because you block pick it, so it's not bad.
I don't think Baron is bad or anything, but I don't think you need to go heavy for Baron.
I think you do, because if you just have one Baron, then it's not that good, because then you like just have 2 coins for each. But if you have multiple Barons, then they become better, like more coins.
They do. They just require actions to play and stuff. So.
Yeah, but you're fishing for that.
And they require you to redraw the estate. I'm not saying it's impossible, but it's slightly more complicated than playing 1 treasure that's worth, $4 or $5 or whatever.
Why are we like choosing these kingdoms? Because they are complicated. That's
No, I don't mean complicated as in can you figure out how to do it. I mean whether it actually fires off consistently.
Yeah, okay, I see. Actually, I think I was even getting a bank when I played it. Not sure. So now they have both 5 Menageries.
This was rough for Steph here.
I think, yeah, Steph has a bad draw for sure. I think Steph got 6.
Now it's fine.
It's fine. He threw his trade route just at the last possible moment.
Although now it's not so fine again.
He wants to play the Baron for an estate. That sounds weird, but he wants an estate because then it works next turn.
Did they split the Menageries?
I think Steph got 6 of them.
No, he got 5, I'm pretty sure. He had a chance to get 6, but then he couldn't have bought a Baron this time.
Right.
Yeah.
I think he wants Baron Fishing Village now.
You're committed to this Baron thing.
Yeah, that's what I thought was cool about the spot. No, don't buy Bishop, please.
I think Bishop could be okay. I mean, it enables your Menageries for your opponent. At some point, it's gonna stop doing that, though.
But you have no card here that gains another card that you can trash. Like you have Bandit can produce spoils, but they are worth nothing, so they're not
true. I think Steph still has more coppers in his deck than what he would like, though.
JSH wants to know: is Baron the new Lookout?
Oh, Baron. Yeah, no, it's not. I only like Baron on this board, not in general. It's not a good card.
Yed with a really unfortunate draw here. He had to play 3 sad Menages before he drew the village and then got to play his 2 trade routes. That was really bad for him.
I think the Bishop is so much worse than the Baron here. I don't agree with Steph here.
I don't think either of them is particularly like superstar rock star, and I don't think either one of them is
the second Baron would have produced 4 coins because you could redraw the estate. So, and the Bishop produces 1 coin. And 4 is more than 1, so Baron would have been better.
Oh, Steph.
That's very nice for us.
Are you guys reading what Steph said in the chat?
Yeah, he's.
No.
It's possible Yed might have misclicked.
Yed was
misclicked.
Having sad times. The 5-2 is pretty just horrible here, which happened for Yed.
So in theory, there's one more Menagerie in those 2 cards. Steph is probably going to wish for it here with his Mystic. It is the only draw left, and he can draw the rest of his deck if he does that.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, definitely. He has to wish for Menagerie. It's 50%.
I think.
Ooh, gets it. Things are going very well, I believe, for Steph here.
Oh, I'm not sure if I would have played Fishing Village, by the way, because I would have aimed for an even split, like he has 3 Fishing Villages, you can at least try to play like 1 in one turn and then 2 in the next turn, and not 3-0.
He might be thinking he wants another one this turn.
I assume he'll bishop the trader now.
Oh, Yet says that he would have resigned in a normal game. Yeah, I would have resigned too if I was Steph here, to be honest.
He can like bishop the Necropolis is also the Necropolis doesn't do very much.
Yeah. Or he could have bought a Baron instead of the bishop, and then you could this now and get 4 cards.
You may be right. Who knows?
I mean, yeah, he would trash Necropolis here probably.
The,
There's only
I
one
guess
card
the
left.
I guess the hard or the issue here is like there aren't. You're kind of running out of targets for things to buy, besides just a bunch of mystics, I guess.
You can
start greening, but
yeah, and you can buy 1 Crossroads definitely.
yeah,
and one
yeah, but
Province.
yeah. I just mean you don't need that much money.
Yeah, okay, maybe.
There aren't a lot of engine pieces to add at this point, unless you want to try something where you do a bunch of points from bishop.
I mean, if you go for green cards, your deck is gonna stall pretty hard since Menagerie is your main source of draw. So VP
or unless
tokens.
you buy estates, then your deck isn't gonna stall because you can discard them as Baron, and then you can play Management again.
Okay, so
You're not gonna
Bishop,
green on
I
estates.
believe, beats that on points.
Look, he didn't even play the Bishop. Now you can't tell me that it was better than Baron. Because he didn't do anything with it.
It could have appeared and made a Menagerie not work. So I can't tell you. Yes, he could have had 2 Barons in hand and maybe not able to play one.
Then just play 1 Baron and then you did out of actions, you mean? Maybe.
Or they don't have an estate, is what he's saying.
But how you get points on this board is something that you really have to think about now. Are you going to go for provinces?
You can do pseudo golden deck.
Right, I think a golden deck variant here is a great way to go.
Yeah, you can. Yeah, okay. Once you have the engine going, you can trash 1 province every turn with Bishop. That's
I mean, at this point, Steph has a lead. He should probably, figure out how to end the game, right?
Yeah, I guess. Like he can also buy 1 province now and then trash it next turn.
Is he gonna go for triple province turns? He's hovering over bandit camp. The only reason I can think of that you would want to buy a bandit camp here is to get up to $24 every turn.
I guess. Maybe.
I don't know. It doesn't really matter very much.
I would think you want to go cash bank for that. You can keep your trade routes around for another turn.
Well, right now bank would be as good as a silver because you have only 1 other treasure card.
Oh, okay, yeah. You would want the other treasure cards as well. But if he's thinking spoils for payload,
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. Bandit camps aren't bad because there's no way they block Menagerie ever, so that's good. And the spoils are like gold. That's always at the bottom of your deck. So. It's not bad.
I mean, if you do get a bad draw, let's say you get all of your Menages in your opening hand and you can't get through your deck, but you play multiple bandit camps, you could shuffle and then
have spoils.
Have multiple spoils. It is possible.
Yes.
And
that as long as you play them like go through your deck every turn, as long as it works, the spoils never hurt you.
True, but in Steph's position, he has such a great lead. I mean, I would be inclined to do something more reliable.
Yeah, that's true. That's a good argument. And Yet has just been fucked over by 2 spoils in his hand. It was really bad for him. So the interesting thing is, if Steph had played the bishop, then Yet wouldn't have stalled because then he could have trashed 1 spoils from his hand and his Menageries would have worked. So it was extremely good play not to play the bishop.
That is 1 point for Baron. Yes, you can have that one. Mystic, he has to wish for something that's not already in his hand, so silver, I imagine. Yeah. Or Menagerie would have worked.
Deck, though.
He did. He bought it last turn.
Oh, he did. Okay.
But Menagerie also would have been a good wish. Last
Now,
turn.
what is his last card?
Silver.
Yes, very good.
He does have that silver. He bought Province, Silver Gold, and I think another
But wouldn't
fishing village.
it have been better to play the Bandit Camp first? Then he could have wished for spoils now, and then he would have drawn something.
True. I mean, he's gonna draw everything anyway.
Yes, that's true.
Oh, there's a discussion in the chat. I think Golden Deck variant is what was suggested earlier, and Mixinock, I think at one point you might have said Golden Deck variant wasn't good, or maybe it was misunderstood.
Yeah, I wasn't entirely sure what Golden Deck means. Does it just mean you trash cards with Bishop every turn?
The point of your deck is to gain victory tokens by buying expensive cards and trashing them every turn. So
that's the definition of Golden Deck. Yeah.
Well,
Golden Deck variant. It's okay. Then.
I usually say Golden Deck variant when I'm trying to say something that maybe draws more and plays multiple bishops a turn, as opposed to the canonical Golden Deck where you have Bishop, Gold, Silver, Silver, Province. You know.
Ah, yeah.
So Steph did Bishop the Province. I imagine he'll be buying 3 of them this turn.
No, then he stalls.
Right. So maybe 2 provinces or just 1 and a second bishop.
1 province, 1 bishop, 1 bank.
Okay.
Are you behind in the stream? Because as
That's
you said 2 provinces.
No, I wasn't behind in the stream. I was behind in thinking because what he did is clearly much better than what I was going to suggest.
Yeah, because he's ahead, he doesn't.
Yeah, there's no point in introducing any possibility of stalling.
Yeah. So I think what's perfect what he did. So. Nah, it's unfortunate.
Yeah, draw your menageries together. Steph has had pretty good luck in that his menageries have been distributed throughout his deck for the most part.
Yeah. Good draws. But he also minimized the chance for stalling.
True.
Very good. When you play menagerie deck, there are some cards of which you can have any number, they don't hurt, like Fishing Village, and then there are some of which you want only 1, the cards that you can't get rid of. So he has exactly 1 of each treasure type, so it's playing really good. Now the question is, does he trash his Baron here? Or his Bishop?
No, you definitely don't want to do that.
I'm not sure. Oh, he probably just trashes the trade route. Because trade route isn't really needed at this point. What? Okay, I don't... Yeah?
Sorry, I was looking at what Adam put in the chat. I think it's working fine with all of us on here, but...
Yeah, I'm not sure what syncing issues, unless someone's trying to watch Steph's stream and listen to our commentary. But there's if you type something in the chat and then we see it immediately, it's about 20 seconds before you hear our response to that.
But that's just natural for Twitch. There's not a enforced delay. That's just...
That's how long it takes Twitch to get its act together.
Right.
Oh yes, he's buying a second Baron, look. Awesome.
It's so good.
Yeah. I mean, when do you buy 2 Barons on a chessboard? It's really rare.
A lot of times I use Baron as the payload to an engine.
Really? I can remember 2 times or so total.
You can, you can have 3 Barons and 1 estate, and you can draw your deck with a couple of cantrips left, or even a couple of villages
that
left.
Never happens. This was, I think, the first time that it worked like that for me.
I've maybe seen that twice ever. Yeah. It's pretty good.
I like Baron a lot, but...
Oh, I don't like him. It's not
good with hunting party and stables.
Yeah, but I don't like that if you draw it with copper, and this happens all the time. If you open it and then you draw it with 4 coppers.
Don't be afraid of that.
I hate playing Baron big money so much.
Yeah,
just
don't
because
play
of
very
that.
big money, but
Baron is
it's-
a good big money enabler with great draws. You can just drain provinces and like.
Yeah, with great draws. Chancellor is
Mon-
one of the best cards in the
So-
game if you have perfect draws.
Silver's a
It really
great
is.
card for big money when you have good draw. Everything's
Yeah, but
Um,
Chancellor is especially good because you
yes,
always...
yes, I know. I know how it works. I've had to read those Celestial Chameleon threads.
Oh, I didn't. But yeah.
Yeah.
Looks
Now
like
he has
it's-
the problem. He has 2 bishops, but he has
Ah.
no targets. He needs to play one of them.
You can bishop
it's-
a bishop.
He's
It's
got
not.
2.
Yeah, but then you don't have a bishop to bishop the province. You can't do that.
You can
I
bishop
think
the
he-
estate, Baron to gain it back, draw it this turn.
Yeah,
And
he's
then
got
use
two,
the second
two
turn to
barons
discard it.
now.
Yeah, I think that's what it's gonna do.
Or Baron a fish or Bishop of Fishing Village is, I guess,
No,
not terrible.
don't do that.
Why
Think
not?
of all the poor people that are living in the village. You can't just...
You're sending them to a better place, depending on your thematic interpretation of what's going on here.
No, he killed a bank. That's much better.
Yeah, it's more
He
points.
killed.
No, it's better because like
Yeah.
it's against like the authority and not against the poor village.
For thematic reasons, it's best to bishop the bank.
How do you know the fishing villages don't like really just like some classy resort with a bunch of rich people? It's just like the bank.
Well, we
There's
need
no
to
way. Come on, look at it.
we have to take a very close look at the card art here, and we do happen to have JSH in the chat. I think we should just ask his opinion. Yes.
Consult him
Yes.
whether the fishing village is a poor place or some sort of seaside resort.
Look, this guy doesn't even have like real clothes on the fishing village. So it's definitely poor.
Nobody wears clothes in tropical locations.
Yeah. I
Okay,
mean,
that's
they're all
true.
tan. They've got great physique. I mean, I wouldn't wear a shirt if those things applied to me.
Yeah, okay, fair point. It's...
Can he end the game here? Looks like he's got 13 in virtual money, 15. Oh yeah, he can get the 3 provinces.
Oh, the any game on province. Oh yeah, you're
yeah,
right.
this is over.
He can do that. So that was that.
JSH says fishing village is a smuggling hotbed. Yeah, yeah. You see what he did in the seaside expansion. Yeah, yeah. Nobody. Yeah. All right. Steph wants to take a 2-minute break. I think that might be a good opportunity for all of us to take a 2-minute break. You know, go use.
If
the,
you know what I mean.
I was thinking maybe using the restroom, but I guess you can do
That's-
whatever you want.
That's what I meant too.
Great.
Then,
And I think we'll.
so,
Now a word from our sponsors.
so are you going to kick me out for the remainder of the games?
Yeah,
Can I
well,
stay?
You
It
can
turns
stay.
out Quist couldn't make it. He had something come up, and so while we were all very sad because everyone loves good Quist, everyone loves a good Quisting. It seems that it makes sense to keep Silver Spawn on, and we're having a good time here. Yeah, so if you're willing, Silver Spawn.
Yeah.
All right.
I think that's okay
All right.
because you're asking me.
Actually, JSH says you must entertain us during the break. Go.
What? No, I'm sorry about that.
Does anybody want to hear the secret to reaching #1 on the leaderboard?
Yes.
There's a method. Okay, so the first step is reach #2 on the leaderboard.
What if you're having trouble with that one?
No, I don't know what to say. It sounds pretty easy to
Pretty
me.
straightforward, yeah.
Like #1 sounds tough, but #2 sounds like
Nick
a breeze.
Seanock,
So
reaching #2 on the leaderboard
So
sounds
first-
pretty easy to me.
so first get to #2. Okay. Then what you do is you just play games until you're higher than #1, and then you stop playing, right? So the idea is that your rating is going to fluctuate some, but you can control when you stop. So you just have to have the self-control to stop when you're #1, and then you just sort of wait there and
The
stop
guy who's
playing.
#2 can still
You
like,
stop.
beat you.
You stop. Yeah, but you can stop there and you wait until they're ahead of you again before you play anymore, and then
Yeah,
you
I
can
guess.
be like, "Oh, I'm #1. Hey, look at me." Right.
I never made it to number 2 on the leaderboard. I made it to number 3 once, but then I dropped.
That was
Yeah.
when you did your big uncertainty drop. I mean, that was just when you reset your rating, though, right? Basically.
No. That was one for like a few seconds, but that didn't
Oh,
really count.
I
After
see.
that, I was legitimately number 2, but not for long. Number 3, I mean. So I was below you always.
The rest of the method you can just get by induction to get to number 2. It's just
That's a very good point.
there's no
Yeah.
problem
So just play enough games on GoCo.
till you're ahead of the person above you.
Yeah.
And then
What
you
if
Repeat the step until you're number 1.
what if
Right.
you're not good?
But then you have a
I didn't-
problem.
I didn't say it was guaranteed. The trick is to stop when you're ahead of the person you want to be ahead of.
Yeah, but you can't because you. like-
Guys, I know it's a joke, but
That one has Colony Platinum, and this one
It has
definitely
rebirth.
should
but
not
rebirth
have
doesn't.
colonies. I really hope I can get Steph's attention, because this one makes a pretty big difference.
Okay, I've never seen the kingdom, so let me study it.
Hopefully he's noticing.
So you make engine with library and fishing village and death card as you played out, I think.
or do you just do rebuild? I guess since it's colony, that's not so good.
Well, yeah, but it's not supposed to be colony. But it can't be rebuild because if rebuild was the optimal strategy, then it wouldn't have been like submitted. The kingdom.
I don't think that follows.
Well, at least
I
the
think-
person who submitted it must at least think that rebuild is the optimal
so
strategy.
let's-
because no one would submit
Right,
a rebuild.
but that
right?
doesn't.
This kingdom was
That's
submitted
true.
by a Wackless, who I believe is in the chat. Congratulations.
Oh, he made a post earlier in the forum how slugs require more skill to play than engines. So maybe he
don't-
thinks rebuild bots require more skill than engines too.
Yeah, I don't even know how to measure what skill is required, but probably since it's colony, you want to do the hermit
So-
fishing village thing.
They're playing the colony bot. I thought we were restarting.
Yeah, I sent him a message. He doesn't appear to be checking them in between games, so this could actually be an
Oh.
issue.
It's not supposed to have colonies.
It's
Well,
not
man,
supposed
I
to have
would,
colonies.
Yeah.
I would.
We said it like
probably-
3 times. You aren't
Yeah,
listening.
I don't listen very well.
Okay.
No, I'm sorry. I just missed it.
So that also means that fairgrounds are now useless here because fairgrounds are almost always useless if you have colonies.
I would, if it's province, I would probably do rebuild. I'm not sure what else
I
you would do.
Like if it wasn't submitted by someone, I would also say rebuild, but with colonies probably not.
Without colonies, actually, this was the one out of all the submissions that got the most play testing. We
Oh.
did
Oh, okay.
rebuild versus the engine here. I mean, Hermit is the only trashing, the coppers are there forever. Library is the only draw, and so it can be difficult to get a really explosive engine going. But it turns out that Fishing Village, Library, and Herbalist with Hermit support is pretty convincingly better than rebuild.
But did you also try stuff with Megatons and Helmets and Madmans and
Uh,
that thing?
Hermits and Madmen were incorporated into the engine, and they seem to help, but we never got any sort of Megaturn going.
Mm. Well, you not like win with a Megaturn, but there's Quarry, so if you get lots of cards and then lots of buys, then it has exponential growth. I'm not sure.
Well, I think it requires a pretty decent draw in order to get a decent turn, just because coppers are around and libraries are
Yeah,
only
that's
source
what I
of
mean.
draw.
That's use Madmans for like one big Quarry turn where you pick up a lot of engine pieces. That might be a thing, but probably not because you don't have enough buys, so it's not worth it.
There's no easy way
And-
to get the buys, really.
Yeah, and you use Death Card, right?
In a couple of the games we did, it didn't seem to be the best thing ever. I actually don't remember Quarry being all that good.
Yeah,
Either
it's possible that's not good. Like, if there was
For-
some better way to get plus buy, then that could be a thing, but probably not.
I mean, Quarry is one of the best rebuild enablers on the board, which is saying something because it's not that good for enabling rebuild.
Yeah, but rebuild really doesn't need an enabler. It's good in itself.
I mean, it's better than big money by itself, but I think this board kind of
because
shows
they're
you
colonies,
that
yeah, so it's
that even the
worse anyway.
weakest engines can.
And it's not a
outpace
weak
rebuild.
engine. There's Fishing Village and Library. That's not weak.
Well, there's no copper trashing. I think that.
There's Fishing Village. Fishing Village is.
Oh
incredibly
right,
strong,
it's
so
overpowered. Yeah.
This card is so good. Oh my god. No, I'm serious. Actually, this card is so insanely strong. Like, people underappreciate this a lot, I think.
What, discard attacks?
No, Fishing Village.
Oh, Fishing Village, you think it's better than people think?
Yes.
No. Everybody loves Fishing Village.
Yeah, but they don't love it enough.
Everybody
I'm
always-
wondering when this power level list it was below Forager, which just kills
That's
me.
because it's not that good. It's not.
It is that good.
It's not good enough for your money.
So
Top 5 best cards in the game.
Yet looks
No,
like he's.
not a chance.
Easily.
What do we think Yet is doing here? He's gotten looks like
Oh, I'm
two
sorry, I wasn't
quarries
paying
and
attention to
two
the game.
silvers.
Oh yeah, he did.
It seems he's going for rebuild and got a really terrible
no.
draw on his first shuffle.
Yeah, but that's bad. Even if you don't have bad draws, what is he doing? Oh no.
Fishing Village is not good enough at getting to 5s to be a top 5 card. It's just
You don't have to open Fishing Village. You can buy it like in turn 3 and 4.
I know that, but it's still not like. And a lot of times for draw, it's not as good as just one of the $4 villages that has a bonus effect of some sort.
You're wrong.
It doesn't draw cards, so that can really hurt your consistency.
Yeah, that's the argument that everyone uses against Fishing Village. It doesn't
And
draw
it's
because
true.
it's the only thing that's not incredibly strong about it is that it doesn't draw.
Fishing Village
Okay,
is
but do you agree that
in five
rebuild?
against-
Do you agree that rebuild will lose here?
I think so. I haven't really. I don't know what Steph has in his deck, but I expect so.
Man, I thought it was really close with provinces, but Adam said that they tested it and that
It's
like,
pretty.
It's
It's pretty convincing that it's.
You can
not
use. I mean, you can
close.
use
So-
rebuilds.
Steph is
You can
going
use-
for rebuild in the engine.
Yeah.
I
I mean,
after playing it a couple times, it didn't feel like that worked very well. Especially you want to use Hermit to trash your estates. And once you
yeah, I
draw
don't
them,
like that at all. I think
mean,
it's really bad.
the synergy with library is there, but I just don't think it's worth it here. I think you want all the fishing
synergy with
villages,
libraries,
all of
not
the
big.
herbalists and libraries, and
maybe they got the message and they're skipping colonies.
mm,
I mean,
Maybe.
that would
I
be
don't
in the
know.
chat.
Yeah, they would have wrote something in the chat. But
If
now
you
this is
sent-
really good because now he can draw up to 7 cards and then he can play Madman and draw.
Oh yeah, you're
6.
right. They would have had to say something in the chat.
So Madman draws 2 cards more than he usually does. So this is really really good. Yeah.
But what is he gonna buy? Plat? I mean, he
Oh, he
doesn't
doesn't have
have
plus play.
he doesn't have plus buy, right? So
Yeah,
it's
that's
not.
true. Okay, never mind. Does he have more than one estate left in his deck? Because if he doesn't, then the
He
rebuild does
can.
nothing.
He can if he gains one.
Yeah, that's he can gain one. Yeah, he needs to do that.
I'm not sure.
Well, I think playing a rebuild, playing an engine with rebuild in it is still better than just going rebuild. So I think Steph wins anyway.
Even this
but-
particular engine.
Yeah, the rebuilds are okay with libraries, and
I don't.
he only has one library, right?
I don't think I necessarily agree with that. Why?
Right. I guess the point is, wouldn't you rather have a library in hand than a rebuild most of the time? I can see that, Adam.
By the way, Steph bought Platin, so there's no way that they're skipping skipping
Right.
Yeah,
economies.
yeah. Well, you guys were already right. It couldn't be because they didn't say anything in the chat. So.
So after the game, we can just say, "Hey, it doesn't count because you."
You're like,
Didn't
sorry,
play.
Steph.
So there's some discussion about the presence of colonies making rebuild better on this particular board in the chat, which is not
What?
complete, but I'm very curious to see how that discussion ends up.
He was, yeah. He's not saying that in general, but he said he thought it was true on this board, and he has
Why?
not. He has not said yet why.
Okay, do you know why?
No, I don't know why he thinks that.
Okay, I don't know either.
So this is Steph's second hand in a row where he had fishing villages out and a rebuild in his hand, where if it was a library, things could have potentially...
Oh, if he buys a silver now, I'm not sure if I survived it. It's my fishing village here. Come on, fishing village is so much better than silver if you have library.
I mean,
Can't see
He only has one library though.
Yeah, okay, but that's his mistake. He should have more libraries.
But
bought
if
a
we're
silver.
talking about what the right decision is for his deck right now, then
Okay, I guess it's not terrible.
I don't know what's happening here.
I'm
This is an odd game.
Yeah.
I mean, actually, it looks like Yed stands a reasonable chance if he gets some good draws with his rebuild. He does have a points lead, and I think he's got more
Yeah, but-
rebuilds.
No, I think Steph got more rebuilds. At least he got at least 3. Maybe
Well,
it's
there's
3.
6 gone, so surely he doesn't. Surely neither of them have 4.
Why not? That would be 4-2 split. That works. 4 plus 2 equals 6.
Yeah, I know. I just don't remember. I mean, you said Steph has at least 3.
Yes.
He didn't get a 4th one, did he?
I'm not sure. He has either 3 or 4. But probably 3.
I'd
It
be-
wasn't that I doubted somebody could have 4. It was that I doubted Steph had 4, and you told me he had 3 for sure. So that was all.
It's interesting. I remember Yed didn't hit rebuild. He couldn't buy rebuild on turn 3 or 4.
Yeah. Even though he opened quarry, which is really unlucky.
Right, his quarry missed the shuffle. He had
He
a
has
terrible
2
draw.
quarries.
He bought one. He had a
Yeah.
second quarry on like turn 4 or something when he missed.
Well,
rebuild.
you can't have the cards that you buy in the first 2 turns miss the shuffle. Like, that's such a basic thing, but players do it wrong all the time.
So he takes the Madman over buying a fairground.
Or another rebuild.
Yeah.
The game's almost over.
Yeah, they are just emptying provinces. They're
And it
not
looks
even-
like Yed definitely has the upper hand.
Well, I don't think Steph has ever drawn his platinum. He bought a platinum really early, and it's like
Yeah.
it costs more than a province, so he invested a lot in that, and then he didn't drew it
He-
even once.
He had 11
He
that
had
turn.
11 the time he bought it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's probably the reason. Yeah, it's funny. Red is actually gonna win this game. It's really silly.
Yeah, and it's it should be noted that, I mean, with 3 games left, if Steph wins one more, he's clinched the champion title. Yed can, I mean, he can get 2.5 points to clinch it, so 2 wins and at least a tie is what he needs to pull it out.
What happens if they tie? Do we play one more match?
There's no way there can be a tie for a championship because they're a half a point apart.
Oh yeah.
Yed started the
okay.
match 1.5 points away from ahead of
there's no-
Steph. Yeah, so there will be one champion. It seems Steph's best chance is to get his platinum and somehow spike buying a colony. That would
So
certainly put
that's
him
why
back in
he
the game.
should set aside this rebuild now. Then he has
The rebuild
chance
is
1 in 14 cards that he draws his platinum.
Yeah. The rebuild's 4 points guaranteed, I
Well,
think.
there was a chance he could buy a province, and if his duchy had been a copper, he could have won automatically by chopping a province into a
Oh.
province and buying a province.
What? No, if he
Oh wait,
makes
that's not
province-
enough points.
Yeah, that loses.
Yes, he's behind in points.
Well, no. If he hadn't drawn his duchy, sorry, he could have upgraded a duchy to a province and bought a province.
Then he gets 9 points. Then he is 1 point ahead. Oh yeah.
Yeah, and that's not guaranteed because he does have a colony in his deck. So he can't just name province and guaranteed hit the duchy.
Yeah, but
Oh,
I
yeah.
don't know what other points he has here.
But now he can't do it
Right,
anyway because
It
draw the
wasn't.
Dutch.
There was no like guarantee. He needed a series of fortunate events, but
Well, is it
Yeah.
possible that Yet has their turn? Maybe it's possible. Like I didn't track his deck, so I don't know. But
It's
if
very
there's a
hard.
chance that
It's very hard to follow the other person's deck who
That's
you
true.
aren't seeing their turns played
and
out.
now he
And he hits
had
the
to trash
colony
his colony,
anyway.
so that's really really bad for him.
What are Fairgrounds worth?
This
It's
is a
worth
good hand.
2 points.
Does Steph still have the Madman?
Yes, he should. I think.
Okay, but it doesn't matter because he has no plus buyer, so he gets a colony now this next turn.
Steph's saying
He
in the
probably gets
chat,
anyway.
he said the last card that he drew that last hand was a duchy. He said any coin and he would have had a force win.
Yeah, now Yet just wins. Okay.
Hey, we get to see more games, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, so a really interesting play by both of them, especially, well, I guess the colonies didn't end up affecting it too much.
And by interesting you mean wrong
Like-
because I tested it.
It's not that
I
hard
implied that.
to
but
buy
I
a,
said that.
a couple colonies by this turn. You know, by turn 14, you would think just playing the library engine, buying colonies would be able to beat this. I would expect, but
Yeah, I think so too. Well, we basically know that it does because Adam tested it. Did whoever said in the chat that rebuild is better with colonies on this board, did he explain why?
Nope, he did not.
Yeah, Steph says in the chat, I probably played this silly. If I can't even beat those draws on your side, my strategy was just off. And I think
Yeah.
I think there's something
He's
to be
right.
said for that. So
Although
this,
Yed's early draws might have been bad, but it seemed like he was getting 2 rebuilds in hand a lot at the end
Yeah,
there.
that's true. And Steph never drew his platinum, which like he had it in his hand at the last turn, then he didn't get to play it because he had finished. So that was really bad for him.
I mean, a rebuild game really turns on when you flip the deck a lot. Whether you pull the rebuilds in that first hand again and flip the deck again, and
Yeah, but also if he bought a colony instead of the platinum, since he didn't draw it anyway, it means he would have just had 10 more points, and
Yeah.
everything else would have been
Yeah.
exactly the same. So that would have been enough too.
But I don't think he hit that 11 pretty early. I don't think you would buy a colony at that point.
so the person who was saying rebuild gets stronger on colony games, they were saying the absolute strength gets stronger because you can play a rebuild and get 4 points instead of 3, but relative strength certainly does decrease.
Okay, yeah,
That's what he meant.
Did Markov put that in there?
He Skyped it to me.
Oh, I see.
So now tell Yet to not misplay the next board. That he did 2 times in a row now. I mean, not misplay as in play wrong, as in like the first board had shelters and it wasn't supposed to have.
Right.
This board has
I scolded Steph slightly in message.
I think both of those boards were slightly improved by the modifications to them. So
okay,
I found it was sort of a happy accident.
So this next kingdom that we're gonna see was submitted by me. Yay, me!
And who decided that we play with it? You decided.
Myself and a drowned colonel. Yes.
So you picked your own kingdom.
I tried to be. I tried not to push my kingdoms. He actually said that it was pretty interesting. He singled it out of all the
There-
submissions. So
Yeah.
But you know what? I did a lot of work, and there actually weren't as many submissions as some would think. Like Silver Spawn and one other person had 2 kingdoms that were selected.
Yeah.
So, plus there are no real prizes other than you get to see your match play game, a game you submitted played by
This is true. Yeah.
Steph. There's no.
Oh, first player. Who?
Steph's gonna search something in Google.
Yeah, we're gonna make sure that we have the correct start